back. Today we are going to talk about the 12-week year and my experience with it this quarter up till now, but technically really, halfway, what I learned by getting halfway through a quarter's worth of the 12-week year. So this book, by the way, is by Brian Moran. I'm not sure whether both of these guys wrote the book or just he had help with the field guide. But anyway, so the idea of the 12-week year is that you work with a quarter and you plan each week as if it's like a month. Instead of having a goal spread out over a year, you define a goal that's, a little bit out of your comfort zone so that it's exciting to pursue, but not so much that it's impossible. So the idea is having such a goal for a quarter, you will accomplish things that you didn't think you could do, partially because of the adrenaline and the focus versus spreading it out over a year where people tend to lose focus and it's really hard to sustain activity on one particular thing over that period of time. So now this isn't necessarily about one project. I picked a couple of projects. What did I pick? I picked getting a couple of creative projects to a certain state of finishing. And there's a whole trick to that. Like, I didn't want to just work on one project and get it done because that isn't really where my focus was. I have a lot of creative projects, and what I really wanted from this quarter is to feel like I have a grasp on all of them, to feel like I'm a creative person working on creative projects and making progress. The feeling there was more important than getting one particular thing done. And I definitely had metrics of success and broke it down into weeks. But that was one general thing. Another one was finishing a Quechua level 2 book that I've been working on. And another one was physical fitness. So I will show you in a minute how I broke that down more or less over the quarter. But this video is to tell you my experiences of midway, how this worked for me and what I got out of it. So first, I feel accomplished. I did a lot of epic shit the first part of this quarter. I got 2 novels that I've been working on dug out into Scrivener, edited for Viewpoint, workable, gotten myself familiarized with them. I'm working on another novel, made a huge amount of progress on one other project. So I feel accomplished in a way that I have not felt before. This is the first time I've really broken down projects by the week and put them in my planner and told myself, well, this is what you're doing this week and you're going to do it. There were times where I did not want to do the thing, but I did the thing, and I feel good about that. Second, I learned that I can do hard things. It was not easy catching up when I got behind, making myself work on Quechua like in the evening after dinner when I really didn't feel like doing it. We went on vacation. Well, not vacation. We went to the Tucson Rock Show, and it was nice because it was from midweek one week to midweek another week. But that meant I had to front load that first week and really catch up that second week. And that was really difficult, but I did it. And I am proud of myself. Third, and this is tied in with accomplishment, but my feeling of integrity and self-trust is much bigger. I think we often do not have a lot of experience with saying we're going to do things and doing them, defining commitments and following through on commitments. This was certainly the first time that I have really broken down many goals into many, many, many commitments over half of a quarter we're talking about. And I have kept going with it and will close out that quarter really soon. But I definitely have a lot more trust in myself, both in the ability to do what I say I'm going to do, but also because I have been successful, that means I was also accurate in figuring out what a reasonable goal was and what I would be capable of. So the fourth thing is I found that I am missing the things that I did not prioritize as goals. Now, the whole point of the 12-week year is not to exclude things that you want to do or be so busy that you don't have time for them. But I found that I have spent much less time like reading books, reading fiction, um, playing with my tarot decks, going for walks, just enjoying unquantifiable time. Now, partially that is because maybe I was overachieving a little bit in my goals and not leaving enough time to have downtime. I don't think that was precisely the problem. I think that what I really didn't anticipate was things coming up, those little extra things that eat up your time. And I would do those and then find, oh, the time that I had scheduled for downtime just isn't there anymore. But I'm finding myself really, really missing a lot of smaller things that I used to do. And the fact is, though, I kind of wonder, did I actually do them as much as I think I do, or is the fact that I'm doing all of these other things making me miss these things? So that is an interesting question. And regardless, what it is making me think is that what I want to do is make sure I prioritize these things that I think I'm missing into some kind of quantifiable goal so that I can make sure I actually do them and give them enough attention in quarter two and perhaps prioritize those over other things so that they happen. The fifth thing is I really find myself almost grieving all of the things that I want to do that I know I will not be able to do in one lifetime. Again, unless I somehow become a vampire or discover a hidden link to the multiverse or some other amazing secret. And this is challenging. It is even more so challenging to accomplish a certain number of things and then realize, oh, those took this quarter. All of these things will take another quarter. These things will take another quarter, and seeing just how much time all of these things take. And I suppose what that also means is I really need to find a way to reframe this. Instead of despairing at not having enough time in one human life, being grateful that my life is so full of these things. There's also a really great quote that a friend of mine shared, which I will post over this video in a moment, basically saying how it was Umberto Eco quoting something about books. And the idea isn't that they're there so you can read them all and you have to read them all. The idea is that they're all a particular medicine and that they're there for when you do need them, and that the idea isn't you do them all, but you read one when you need to read that book. And maybe I need to think about that in regard to all of these things that I want to do. It isn't necessarily that like doing them is the thing. It's doing them when I feel I need to. And I need to think about that a little bit more. I think another thing that came out of this was that I need to figure out how to work with sort of a companion plan for what Jennifer Loudon in one of her books called the conditions of enoughness. So she talked about, usually like when we think, oh, I want to read, like I want to meditate, I want to do these things, instead of feeling like you need to do them for hours and hours, figure out what is the minimum amount of time you need to do something in order to feel satisfied. Like, you know, if I want to read fiction, what is the minimum amount of time that I need? Like, is reading half an hour before bed every night enough? Is reading a half an hour before bed every other night enough? Does that feel too pressured? And instead, am I looking at, do I want to set aside a good 3 hours one afternoon a week to really sink into a book? Is that what would really make me happy? So figuring those things out and making a plan for those things along with, the other sort of high level goals. Is that something I need to do? So just to state that a little more clearly, in addition to having this list of like the four major goals and implementing them, making sure I have a backup plan for, say, you know, am I playing with my tarot decks 10 minutes a week? Am I reading before bed 3 nights a week? Am I going for a walk twice a week? Making sure that those things are checked off, not as one of these big priority lists, but as my sort of low level condition of enoughness plan. So that has been my experience so far with the 12-week year. Maybe I'll make another video at the end of the month explaining my new plan for the next quarter and how the previous quarter sort of influenced and informed that. Thank you very much for listening to my video, and I will see you in the next one.